I'm 31 years old, and I only have two real friends as of today, is my father and myself. You're gonna ask me why? What do you mean? Well, my father taught me one of the most valuable things that anyone can have today: how not to think like the masses. I call it critical thinking. I've read some of the comments on my last video, and let's be honest, most of them mass-produced opinions, copy-paste thoughts, not a trace of a real analysis or independent thinking. And it's so funny to look at the comments that 90% of the comments just want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to get a second opinion from somebody who's thinking differently, who's talking differently. They heard something, agree to it, and then they don't want to listen to anyone else with a different opinion. It's normal. It's 99% of population live like that, and that's why only 1% is rich and has power in this world. Now let's talk about Vitaly's possible exchange. I'll give you a very real and a recent example. A swap between Russia and the US you probably missed. Her name is Ksenia Karelina. Originally from Russia, she became a US citizen in 2021. In January 2024, she went back to visit Russia. She was arrested for treason. Why? Because back in 2022, while living in California, she donated $50 to a Ukrainian fund. That's it. $50. Something we all see a million times online. Support Ukraine, buttons, fundraisers, GoFundMes. Now, here's the twist. On April 10, 2025, the US managed to bring her back. Not because of the policy, not because of justice, but because Chris Van Herden, hopefully I pronounce his last name right. If not, my apology. Chris Van Herden, he's a UFC fighter. He begged Dana White to help her. Dana asked Donald Trump, and Trump made the call to Putin. That's how the deal happened. I'm gonna show you the video right now of Chris Van Herden pretty much begging for the past year and a half.
Yeah. I'm pleading to the American government, I'm asking, I'm not a begging man, but I'm begging the American people to help me get Ksenia back. I was promised that President Trump is up to date about Ksenia, he's been informed about her. Put my faith in President Trump. I waited till the very last day under the Biden administration for something to happen. And they just told me, keep your mouth shut.
You got my cell phone number, you call, you're on that night. I can't wait to see you and your love reunited and back here.
And to all the NPC thinkers still stuck on how things are supposed to work, what more proof do you need that connections are way more powerful than principles in global politics? Look at Vitali, look at the people he's worked with. You really think none of them can reach Trump or someone close to him? You don't think Putin could cut a deal with the Philippines too? I'll let you drop your thoughts in the comments. Not just for the algorithm, but because I actually want to hear if anyone out there gets what I'm saying. Now let's look at who the US traded in exchange for Ksenia. His name? Artur Petrov. He was accused of stealing sensitive microelectronics for a Russian military supplier. That's a espionage level stuff. So let's recap. US gave Russia potential military spy. Russia gives back a regular citizen who made a $50 donation from California. Sounds fair to you? Vitali is not a spy. He's not even a model citizen of Russia or the US, but he's a public figure. He's got connections. Connections who know people in the White House. And yet he's still sitting in a detention center. All it takes is Trump or Putin to say, hey, Marcus, can you please release Vitali? There's some people asking for him, or otherwise you're gonna have to enjoy the fever trade deals. On top of that, say goodbye to your military aid. There are hundreds of ways to do negotiations. So the real question is, who is going to beg for Vitali? Out of all the people he's filmed with, will even one of them speak up? Or will they pull a kick.com ban and just disappear? This is actually a perfect time for a loyalty check. When Vitali gets released, I can take him out and buy him a nice borscht and forgive him for that phone call from back in 2017, what he was telling me over the phone, not me, through his manager at the time. You know, I'll probably forgive him. Depends, you know, if he likes the borscht or not, especially if it's going to be a homemade. All these NPCs that have been commenting on my last video totally forgot about pandemic, how pandemic started, how everybody was forced to wear masks. As we all know, masks didn't work. Even at the time of pandemic, I refused to wear a mask. I was getting kicked out of stores. I didn't want to wear the mask. I didn't want to be forced to wear that shit. Obviously, most people, majority of people were looking at me like I'm a psychopath. Like I should go to prison. I should probably have a death penalty like some people say in the comments. And I never wanted to be a part of the NPC society. And even to this day, people still wear masks. This is something I will never understand. I was actually reading this good comment, the GBTV 2025 left about how Filipino government is corrupted. Most of the governments have corruption. The United States have corruption. I'm not gonna even talk about Russia. I mean, everybody should know. Corruption is part of the system. We're people, we're not robots. People will always be hungry for money and for power. And all these NPCs that disagree with my statements and only tend to believe what Filipino government says. Look, Filipino government is not the most innocent government in the world. In fact, the corruption level in Philippines is still a big issue. The government scores low on the global corruption level. On the police side, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of scandals. I was reading that thousands of cops were punished in 2024, and there are serious claims that during the drug war, Filipino officers were paid to kill suspects. I think $17,000 per unit. Even nowadays, cases like kidnapping tourists, it's still pretty common thing in Philippines. So I don't understand why people just go in comment section and trying to prove the point that our government is the most innocent government in the world. Whatever our government states, everything's going to be done the way they say. This is a typical narrow mindset thinking. And in general, if you trust your government, you already took an L. The funniest NPC comment I've seen was probably about death penalty for Vitali. You don't want death penalty for maniacs, for serial killers, kidnappers, but you want a death penalty for a streamer. How does that even levels up with all the serial killers? A death penalty for Vitali, no death penalty for serial killers. This is just beyond madness. And all these comments, I don't know who are these people. These people are the definition of eating up the information that they're giving by their local government, by the spread of word. They don't even want to make up their own mind. They don't want to think critically, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that we're going to punish this person, we're going to give an example. Sure, give it an example. Personally, I'm speaking out the opinion based on the global map. Filipino government is under influence of the United States. If the United States will say, hey, give us back Vitali, then they will give back Vitali. And this is just my statement, and you can argue as long as you want, but this is what's going to happen if Trump will be interested in the trade, or if Putin's going to be interested in the trade. No one gives a about what the government says right now. No one gives a about the Secretary of Press. Just because they say something right now doesn't mean it's going to happen. In this specific case, that he's going to get 25 years in prison and nothing's going to happen. So the big YouTuber gets 25 years in prison and no one does anything. Everyone just forgets about him and we just move on. Do you really believe this is the case? Do you really believe that a streamer is going to get 25 years in prison? Even 5 years in prison? No critical thinking. When I got arrested first time in the United States for doing a prank on Hollywood Boulevard where a helicopter came, 30 cops were pointing guns at me. One cop came up to me whenever he handcuffed me. He said, "Oh, buddy, you're gonna spend a long time in prison." So all I got after that, when I got released, which was the next day, I didn't even get a fine, guys. I didn't even get a fucking fine. All I had is a warning. A warning. Just because the law enforcement told me you're gonna spend the next 5 or 10 years in prison doesn't mean I'm gonna spend 10 years in prison. It kind of makes me mad, you know, it makes me irritated because just the definition of NPCs that let's just trust everybody, let's trust our government and live peacefully. This is like the mentality of majority of people. This is similar if I was like far right or far left, I would be just screaming, "Let's go Trump, yeah, fuck Democrats." Or if I was a loyal Democratic fan hating on Republicans, you know, those crazy people from videos when they like see a MAGA hat and they just walk up to and then start taking off the hat. The same type of people that go in comment section and then they just become this true loyal fans of a certain government or a news story that caught their eye. There's a lot of Americans that go into comment sections and then tend to believe only one side of the story. It's kind of weird because you live in America where you have two Democratic parties, the major parties, and they've been constantly fighting for decades. But after when the camera shuts off, they go and drink coffee together. I've been living in the States for almost 20 years, and I'm just trying to think in my head, like if I would be watching news every single day, just one side of propaganda, what type of person I would be right now? Like, would I be just walking around and see people that are wearing MAGA hats or Biden t-shirt, just ripping them off? And like, how would that be in my head? What level of stupidity in your brain needs to reach to do shit like that? All right, to put the cherry on the cake, I found this video. I originally came from TikTok from this unknown channel with like 600 followers. The video itself is actually getting some type of recognition on TikTok. I think it's like 40,000 views already. And of course, the mass will comment and believe like, "Oh my God, he deserved this. Yes, they should take everything away from him." They don't even know. They haven't done any digging. They don't even know that Vitali never owned a villa in Los Angeles. He never made that much money from YouTube. $9 million. They're talking about $9 million just to have a house like that. Can't even imagine how much you gotta pay in tax. This fake YouTuber made a video about Vitali. And of course, like I'm talking about in this video about the mass, about the NPCs. They go into a comment section just like they go into my comment section, and then they just leave comments based off information they just watched or the information they found somewhere from someone. But yeah, here's the video. Let's watch it.
Vitaly Zadorovetsky is reportedly selling his multi-million-dollar Los Angeles villa. But the reason is not a new business move. The real story? A dramatic scandal unfolding in the Philippines. According to some sources, what sources? Are you gonna tell us what sources, or are you just gonna claim some sources? The sources he meant in this case is the sources from TikTok, because he doesn't show his face, he doesn't talk about who he is. So there's only one source about his $9 million villa is the TikTok video, same exact video from TikTok. Days ago, Vitali was involved in chaotic incidents, shouting at people, storming into restaurants, and allegedly threatening violence.
And that's pretty much copy-paste of what we already know. Like, there's nothing new that he's saying here in the video.
He even live-streamed himself, reportedly stealing motorcycles on the streets. Authorities acted quickly and arrested him. But instead of being extradited to the United States, the judge made a surprising decision. Vitali would serve his sentence in a Filipino prison. Fearing for his life and freedom, he made a desperate move, selling his luxury villa to pay fines.
How would this person know anything about Vitali's villa? In fact, you can go watch a video on Cassidy Campbell Talks, where Cassidy interviewed a recent employee of Vitali. There's like a 20-minute interview you can watch. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, so you can find more information about who Vitali is and what he did to people, whatever. He doesn't even have that much money. The most money from his kick streams he made, as far as I know, the information I have from the insides, because when I say from insides, because I used to film with people, I think the most money he made was $500,000 for his first season of catching predators. That's the most money he made. Like, where did the $9 million come from?
Allegedly, to bribe the chief judge. But there was something he did not know. That same judge was already under investigation for corruption. Instead of buying his way out, Vitali now faces even harsher charges.
What judge was under investigation? Like, this person makes the fake video, doesn't specify anything, and claims that this judge was under the investigation. This is the definition of fake videos, fake sources, and then the mass will obviously eat that shit, and they will come to videos like mine and then say, guess what? I know more than you do, because actually Vitali owns the villa. Actually, Vitali tried bribing some judge in Philippines. This is how the structure works in when you make videos and you're a content creator or you're just an NPC.
His multi-million-dollar home is gone. His freedom is gone. And his fight for survival has only just begun.
And to wrap up this video, I'm going to leave the quote on the screen. Make sure you read it carefully, and I will definitely make another video. Let's go. See ya.